All right. Hello, Libra. Hopefully you're doing well today. Nicholas Ashbaugh here with my furry assistant, Apollo. And we're going to be taking a look at the next 6 to 8 weeks for you. Beautiful message this morning as I was tuning into dreams about clarity. I saw the image of a diamond, which to me is a fortuitous symbol. So we're going to walk through all of the opportunities in the next month. Let me put down my assistant so we can begin. First and foremost, good to see you. If you happen to be joining live, do take a moment to go ahead and fill out the poll so that you can help vote for which particular deck you'd like me to use today. That's something new that I'm doing where basically I'm giving you a chance to vote if you showed up a little bit early. So let me go ahead and put this monitor to the side and we'll begin. If it's your first time here, welcome. I'm glad you stumbled upon me. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you for your ongoing support and for making all these videos possible. I wouldn't be here without everybody. A quick note on scheduling. As you've noticed, my times have varied a bit this month. That's because of the continued construction that's going on. And the good news is I've found a new place. So I will be moving on August 1st, which is just in a few weeks. So I'll be packing up around, if you see some boxes here and there, you can see a couple in the background. That's what I'm doing. I'm starting to get everything packed up. So thank you for being patient. All of the moving should be done and I should be in my new place the first week of next month, which means we'll go back to regularly scheduled timing. So I'm sure everyone will appreciate that. And again, thank you for being patient. I know it's even stressed out little Apollo as we've been going through all of these schedule time changes. So thank you very much. Here's the format for today. We're going to be looking at channeled messages first, as we always do. And then I'll go into the Celtic Cross. I'll get into all of the other formats and all the other pieces after that. Suffice it to say, I give you a nice overview of everything going through this month. We don't focus just on one area. If you'd like to be kept in the loop of upcoming videos and also to make sure that you don't miss out on anything just because I might shift it by 15 minutes, please make sure to also opt into the bell notification in addition to subscribing. It really not only helps channel growth, but it ensures that you don't miss anything, which is hopefully the point of all of this here. And if you'd like to show some love and support, I saw we already had a few when I signed in. You can give super stickers and super chats by clicking on this little icon next to the emojis. Completely optional, but it does help me buy new decks. It is going to help me as I'm relocating and getting my new office set up. So I can't wait, actually. One thing that is really cool with changes in life in general, sometimes you can control them, sometimes you can't. What I was basically doing here was reading the signs. There comes a point where it's very, very clear that it's time to move on. It's time to make a change. And that was coming through loud and clear. So let's kind of embrace that and see what opportunities are coming through for your sign over the next 6 to 8 weeks. Okay, let's begin with channeled messages. I'm going to get the presentation set up. We're going to talk about diamonds today, which is fun. When I was looking at it in my dream, I was shown like a number and a lot of zeros, and we'll talk about that. And to me, that represents like unlimited potential, that there might be certain things in your life that you consider priceless or beyond measure, but it also shows your own value and a change of fortune for some of you. So this is an exciting month, a very important month for you. All right. So I like to geek out on any particular symbol that I see in a dream or in a meditation. And I've worked with the diamond before, and I've actually written about it. I have a little blurb from the book that I have behind me. But let's start first with the basics here. What is it? It's a solid form of the element of carbon. And we are carbon-based organisms, and everything on this planet is part of, stardust, basically, part of a star that's gone supernova. So this is basically a representation of like a very, what's the best word? A very sort of clarified version of what we are. And as I'll say in a few slides here, they're billions of years old. So there's a store of knowledge from the planet whenever you're looking at a diamond. That is probably why we value them so much. Graphite is another form of carbon, but it hasn't been crystallized as much, so diamonds obviously are ascribed a little bit more value. To me, they are more of a symbol of grace under pressure, because you take this dark, crumbly mass of carbon and you just heat it up and you put a lot of pressure on it for a few billion years, and something beautiful comes as a result of that. And so when we look at our life, when we go through something difficult, a breakup, a divorce, a crazy boss at work, a roommate situation that drives you nuts, a very difficult exam period at school. Life in general is going to throw a lot of challenges. If you were a kid of the 80s, looking at like Stranger Things and all of this stuff now, you remember those rock tumblers that you could get for Christmas. They were loud as anything. Usually they ended up in a basement or outside. But if you let them tumble the rocks for a few months, all these ugly kind of rocks suddenly then had this polish and sheen to them because they went through that rock tumbler. Parts of our life sometimes are to get some of the karmic sort of jagged edges off. And so once you look at that diamond in the rough and shine it, you see what was always there. And to me, that's really what this totem represents. Something beautiful can result from an otherwise uncomfortable situation, giving you a chance to shine. Thus, we are featuring here the star card. Okay, so this is a chance for you to shine, for you to clarify or get clarity on something as well. Okay? It also, to me, represents reinvention or rebuilding. So this particular quote comes from my book. And there was a point at which one of the teachers in this book was talking to one of the humans. It was an immortal, and he was kind of pointing to this guy's wedding ring. So I'll read this quote, but it basically summarizes what I just said. So take that diamond, for instance. It was once carbon. Heat, pressure, and time created something new with stronger bonds and a greater capacity to reflect light than its previous incarnation. Sometimes elements have to be rearranged several times in order to reach their full potential. This is what normally happens to a soul with each reincarnation. Each life learns something that changes its composition, making it stronger, wiser, and clearer. So you're at this moment in time where everything's rearranging in such a point that a karmic lesson is about to be released, and you're graduating basically from that. And now through the lens of this new experience, things kind of like glasses, right? It just bends light. I'm seeing things, but it's just bending light so that it's a little bit clearer, right? So now you have this new spectrum through which you can see things, and things are going to come into focus for you. Something that before eluded you or seemed a little bit difficult to understand is now becoming a lot clearer to you. And each lifetime gives you a chance to basically ascend. And I believe that everything and everyone is capable of redemption, but redemption's a choice. Redemption, growth, and expansion. You can choose to go down that path, or you can choose to stagnate, or you can choose to go into the reverse. So let's choose the growth, and the expansion, and the ascension. And all of these re's at the top, we could have reinvention, rebuilding, and rebranding would be another thing. Whether it's rebranding who you are or rebranding a business, all of that kind of energy is coming through as well, okay? Of course, we would also talk about strength when looking at a diamond. When you look at a couple of the measurement scales, it is high up on that measurement scale, sometimes the highest on that. So it would represent inner strength. I would also say, even for some of you, external strength, and perhaps beyond your recognition or imagining. So if you can take diamond bits and put them on a drill and drill through the earth, when this comes through in the totem, it tells me that you can also push through perceived boundaries in your life, or at least persist through them as well. So you're a good match for any challenge, and you're also a good match in general. When you see your inner strength, then you also become magnetic, and it can transform into the Lover's card. So because being strong, I think, is a very, not just an admirable, but also a very attractive sort of trait, being able to withstand things. So see yourself as formidable, see yourself as strong, see yourself as capable. And sometimes just recognizing that will also kind of push through some of the obstacles, or it pushes away some of the people that are coming through to test. Are you strong? Are you sure? Do you know? Etc., etc. Because I was shown high value, the number kind of oscillated a few times, so it doesn't really matter what number I saw. I just saw a lot of zeros. Suffice it to say that there's a change of fortune, and it's also like a change of self-worth. So kind of what it reminded me of is, and I think you still see this across Europe in some places, but train stations where the old ticker, like it would kind of, there was a bunch of analog digital sort of things where it would change, and you could kind of hear a new route and the time, and there was this kind of clicking and everything. So I was seeing the numbers kind of go like that, and a bunch of zeros here. So to me, it represents a change of fortune, change of direction, and a change of self-worth for the better. So you want to visualize the heightened versions of things like health, wealth, and love. That is abundance. It's a different, we don't kind of quantify abundance just as what's in your pocket or in your bank account. It's also things like how well do I feel? How strong am I so that I can kind of channel through all of this stuff? How much love do I have in my life? How can I spend this, all the resources that I have if I don't have the health and the relationships? So you have to have a little bit of all of that. So imagine as much as possible in the highest forms, beyond your expectations. And that's a great way to open up. So you can see those zeros continue. And it's just a symbol, but it's a good kind of symbol as well. Okay. Then I see also the importance of cosmic timing. So this is billion with a B. Most natural diamonds have ages between 1 to 3.5 billion years. So they've been in the earth, going through that process of clarification, pressure testing, all that stuff for a long time. Of course, there are synthetic diamonds as well, but the traditional ones coming from the earth, 1 to 3.5 billion years. And you think of the average human lifespan of like 75 to 80 years. Whenever you're connecting with one of those diamonds, doesn't really matter how clear they are or whatever, there's ancient energy in that. This is true of a lot of different minerals. So I have, I'd have to look up all the different ages here, but I have amethyst behind me. Most of my other ones I'm packing up in boxes, but all of these, any sort of crystal, the reason that they're kind of powerful is the age that they've been in the earth, and just touching that kind of connects you with that sort of grounding energy that's been here for a while. So if you're feeling like I can't handle this, even going to an old tree and kind of just leaning against it can give you that sense of grounding here. Don't skip any unnecessary steps. Don't try to fast forward through things. Don't wish your day or a week or life away. And I think we've all been through that at some point where you think, I can't wait until the end of this week or the end of this day, or when is it quitting time, etc., etc. The problem with that is that once that happens, you can't get the time back. And this moment is the most important because you're living, you're choosing, you're creating in this particular space and time. So time and patience pay off, and you don't want to rush through something important. Finally, going back to the sort of ability for these to drill through things, diamonds can be used to drill, and it really kind of it drills home this sort of idea of the importance of getting to the point, being decisive, taking action. So brevity and decisive action are going to also be rewarded. I would say be patient and formulate what it is you're trying to do, and then do something about it. It's always good to have the Two of Wands preceding like any of the swords cards here that I could have featured. Typically I would do like the Knight, but the King is really someone who's a decision maker, and that's why I featured him. I want you to feel really good about the decisions that you're about to make. There shouldn't be any questions in front of you. If there are questions, then you want to take time to make sure that you can get the answers you seek and the answers that you need. Okay? So beautiful messages overall when we're looking at today's totem. Kind of magical here with that image that came through, and I think portending some really good things for you. So it looks like I've given everyone a chance to vote on the different decks here that you've chosen, the True Heart Intuitive deck. So let's give this a chance to tabulate, and I'm going to zoom in on this. And again, just a quick reminder of where we're at right now. We're going to move along now to the Celtic Cross, and I let the Celtic Cross take any particular direction that it needs to. A lot of readers are going to focus solely on love or work. We're going to look at whatever the universe wants us to focus on. All right, so let's get started without any further delay, and just double checking. Yeah, 41%, we got a really clear winner, so thank you to everyone who voted. I appreciate you. All right, let me get everything set up here, and we'll begin. I always get questions if you can use this for sun, rising, or moon. The answer would be yes. You can also use it for other aspects of your chart. There is a special portion towards the end where I will focus more specifically on the sun, rising, and moon messages. So be patient, stick around, and I will address that when it comes. thanks again for everyone's patience as I've been sort of shifting times around, and I can't really see beyond a week at this point, so that's why I've been just kind of putting 3 or 4 videos up on the main page at a time. But starting next month, we'll have regular time, and I'll do my monthly schedule again. Good choice in decks. I do like this one. It's a beautiful one. Thank you so much to Diane and everyone else who's given back with super chats and super stickers. Stick around until the end and I will recognize everyone who did that. I usually don't interrupt in the flow, so I just happened to catch that out of the corner of my eye and I appreciate it. All right. Really beautiful energy. So cool. You can't make this stuff up. We got crystals coming through. Of course, diamond being one of those crystals and the amethyst behind me. And it's coming through in your wealth area, which is really portending some good things. We'll focus on that a little bit more. Focus being part of what this message is. But we'll take it one step at a time here. All right. So let's begin with your catalyst first. We have the Medicine Mother, honor your inner knowing. So this card was reversed, but let's look at it upright for a moment here. She reminds me of the, I think it might be in, I don't know if it's Morgan Greer or one of the other older decks that I have, but there's kind of like a crown of sunflowers on one of those older decks. But so a little bit of Queen of Wands energy here when I'm looking at this. And not overthinking something that you're feeling. So Medicine Mother to me is kind of a combination of High Priestess energy, Queen of Wands, Empress. The High Priestess being thoughts manifest. And if we believe in worst case scenarios or if we give in to our lower frequencies, a lot of times we manifest them. If we start to embrace and open up to a positive outcome or a different outcome, then we open up doors and windows that wouldn't be opened up before. So your thoughts are very powerful at opening or closing off things in your life. The nurturing energy of the any of the mother cards, but particularly the Empress. So choosing in this moment in time to take care of yourself and prioritize health and well-being, also equally important. And then the Queen of Wands, being able to think through even a difficult situation where you feel like this isn't going to work out. She'll think it through again and say, well, it may not be optimal, but we can try this. Or guess what? I just thought of something completely different, and you're open to new experiences, new thoughts, new, again, outcomes. So I would encourage like collaborations with people that you haven't thought of collaborating with, communications with people maybe that are in that innovative space, because it can help break you out of any stagnation you might be feeling in your life. This is telling me you can do it. The reversal of this is saying that you're doubting that or you're closing something off. So if you are having trouble staying open, then find people around you that have that outgoing, opening, sort of explorative energy and connect with them, and that's going to help you out right now. Let's go to your center cards. We have the Princess of Wands, basically a page at the center, and happy to see that, again, connecting to the Queen of Wands energy that I was seeing with the sunflower. The cool thing in the sort of symbolism of the sunflower in the Queen of Wands card is basically that she's in a desert. Let's look at her while we're talking. And even though I'm looking at the princess, it's okay because I keep thinking about it with the sunflower. So basically, she's in a desert where nothing should grow, and yet she has magic on her side. You see a little cat, black cat by her, and something growing, a flower. So she's able to find a way. Here we go. This is why she's one of my favorite symbols. So we see the pyramids behind her. She's in a desert. She has the cat. And then she has this beautiful sunflower. And we see it around her crown. We see the lions behind her as well. But basically she's saying, I can create growth anywhere. I can thrive anywhere. And this is the fruit of that labor, and this is what I can do. This is my magic. My magic's in here. I can outthink, I can innovate, and I can expand. So the page is the beginning of that process, and we see the sort of flames of inspiration coming through. We also see a symbol of that growth. You're always going to usually see some sort of a flower or symbol, but usually just a single one, whereas pentacles, you usually have vines everywhere. But bringing just a little bit of fire, just a little bit of prosperity, and again, doing so in an unexpected place. And so you may think to yourself, how am I gonna make this work? Or why is this happening? It could be a pressure test where you can shine, just like our totem showed you. It could be so that you could be pushed into a different trajectory, which is going to be more rewarding. So what I would say is look at the signs around you, look at the street signs, look at the, like, symbolically, where's your heart pointing you? And if you're feeling uncomfortable, or if you're feeling stuck, or there's a lot of friction on a current path, what would happen if you took a turn in this direction or this direction? It's really just asking you to keep an open mind. So any of these cards reversed would always say, open up the mind, try something new, listen to or read or watch something that's inspirational that leaves you with the questioning sort of energy. There's a time and a place to be skeptical, but even a good skeptic would ask, is it possible? Why isn't it possible? You would be open. You may not immediately believe without data, but you also wouldn't disbelieve, because just plain out disbelief, it's going to close off the option that it could be. So I would say, just always entertain an opportunity and an option and see how it pans out, how the pros and cons stack up, how you feel about it at the end of the day. So as we look at what's crossing this card, we have the collaborative, loving, connecting energy of the Six of Cups. Some of you may be sort of reconnecting with someone from the past, an old friend, colleague, or classmate. You could also be calling in someone new into your life that, for inexplicable reasons, at least at present, you feel like, I know this person, or I'm going to know this person. Or I've talked to some friends in my life where they said, their future partner, they sat across from them at the dinner table and they're like, that's the person I'm going to marry, but I'm just not going to freak them out and let them know. So sometimes you can meet someone that you know is going to be your best friend or your future partner, or you just get a good vibe when you're starting a job or moving in somewhere and you meet a neighbor or something like that, and there's just this feeling like we're gonna click. So pay attention to those exchanges. That's not accidental. There's probably karmic history, or you've manifested this and it's a synchronicity, and it is exactly who or what you've been looking for. It feels like home. It can be a home, it can be a relationship, it can be a new opportunity, but there's this familiarity with it. Because Six of Cups usually is a connection to the past. It feels like home. All right, this is also showing increased visibility or focus from your part on family, those core relationships that are the most important to you, especially children in your life. Inner child would count here as well. If you're single and don't have children, it'd be about kind of like making sure that you're doing things that are fun. Six of Cups and the Fool are the two of the most playful cards in the major arcana. I would say the Sun as well, major and minor. But basically all of these cards have children on them, and they're wanting you to kind of like come out and play and explore a little bit. So magnetic energy here, being open to something new, possibly partnering up with someone who can help you open up. All of these things are good. The more open you are, the more you bring in that abundance, and that abundance through teamwork, because people think, I matter. This person's listening. I can connect with them. Okay? And yes, it's a good time for love. And yes, it could be a fire sign. There's also an earth sign coming through as well. So you have options. We'll talk more about that when I look at love. All right, we're going to focus now on what could be holding you back. In the deep past, we have this sort of optics-based Five of Cups. Look at all the different eyes focusing on this individual in the center. Critical eyes, because they're focusing on what's gone wrong. Meanwhile, she has two cups behind her, and we see this sort of partnership energy here in the Six of Cups, and you can kind of see the two cups in the foreground. And it's basically saying, but someone's in your corner. Don't focus on all of the naysayers. Focus on the people who are there to give constructive guidance, that are there no matter what. A lot of times it could be a parent, it could be a best friend. These are the ones that matter, because through thick and through thin, through better and through worse, that person sees you. They see the diamond in the rough. They see the potential. So see yourself through the same forgiving, loving, and unconditionally accepting eyes as that person. And if that person doesn't exist, then accept yourself as you are and work on what you'd like to do, but do it for yourself, not for all these eyes that are looking at you. And don't focus on what quote unquote went wrong. It was basically lessons that were called into your life to help you be stronger. And all of those lessons accomplish that. You are stronger. It's now just a choice to fix your vision on something different, okay? Don't be so hard on yourself. Look at it from a bird's eye perspective, and as air, you can do that, so I'm encouraging you to. All right, that is the karmic lesson from the past. It could be playing a role in present relationships, so that's why I wanted to highlight it and talk about it for a moment. All right, in this moment in time, you're being asked to be a little bit more outspoken, a little bit more communicative. We have the Moon card. It came through in a reverse state as well. The Moon card for me always is a new opening, a new path. You can see here, it's almost like this starry path reflecting back in the water here, but you have a choice to sometimes get distracted in the day-to-day stuff. Sometimes it's in what you've been trained to do, what you've been asked to do, what your instinct is telling you to do. Meanwhile, there's something that's really calling to you. There's something that's worth your time and energy. And this is old business. So get through the old stuff as soon as possible and then focus on your path, what's opening up to you. The other thing that I would say with this is that if someone tried to get away with something, things are starting to come to the light of day right now. If you're trying to get away with something, don't. Just be honest, just be communicative about that, because the Moon reversed is basically a revelation card. It's not worth it for you or for the other person. Also, territorial stuff could be coming through for some of you, like a workplace. There could be cliques. Even in families, these cliques can exist. So basically, certain people are excluding you or having a hard time opening up to you. Focus on what's open, not what's closed, just like we learned with this. If something's closed, it's closed for a reason, and there's a better match. So allow yourself to align to the openings so that you're not blocked. Imagine that it's like a labyrinth or a maze, and you're finding the path of least resistance and how to get through to the other side. Some of these distractions or noises in your life, they can be dead ends, and we want to avoid that, okay? So focus only on what's important. Be honest. Expect that same honesty and transparency from others, and if it's not existing, choose a different path, okay? Your crowning card at the top here is the Queen of Pentacles. Very nurturing, very productive, very wealth-oriented card. And when she's reversed, she's saying, I want to focus on my growth. I want to focus on why I'm doing this. I matter. And it's okay when I'm reading for you for this to come through in the headspace. It's saying, in this moment in time, it's very important for development and growth and support to be visible. As I said, in Pentacles, you're going to see earth and all these sort of green, lush colors. Usually browns and greens are going to be featured in Pentacles cards. We also see at the foot of this particular card here, the rabbit. So prosperity and a quick sort of clip at a fast pace. So if you felt before that things were very slow, that you weren't seeing what you needed to see happen, this is saying the moment you open up to something different, a different approach, something that's, again, open to the energy that you want to invest, suddenly those doors swing wide open and you start to see movement, growth, opportunity, and development and expansion. If you're feeling like there's a glass ceiling or that there's like people with cotton in the ears and they're not listening, this is a clear indication that it's time to go to a different person or go to a different place that will foster that growth. If you're looking to go back to school, learn or nurture yourself in any way, shape, or form, Queen of Pentacles is there to help you out. She's also saying it's time to let go of something. So any of the children cards would indicate birthing, and this is something that's showing it's overdue. So if you want to release something, it looks pretty good. And if we just kind of fast forward here, we see the release, publication, distribution. I see it being well received. I see people looking up to you. So it feels like if it's a product, a service, a book, a curriculum, art, or anything of that nature, an album, it looks like you've done the work required to get it to the next stage. And sometimes we can hold on a moment too long. And so this is encouragement to let go, to have that birthing. If you're trying to have a child, sometimes this is twins. So be mindful of that as well. Okay. This can also show issues with reproductive organs, or sometimes even not drinking enough water. Standard disclaimers apply when I'm talking about health. This is energy. You'll always want to work with your doctor, and it's not a substitute for energy, but there are certain things energetically that connect with our health, so I'm just highlighting those. All right, let's focus on what's coming through in the near future. Well, there's actually a suggestion for many of you right now, which is to take some time off. So take some time to yourself. Four of Swords shows that when we allow ourselves to rest, when we allow ourselves to just sort of be, then the clarity comes through, which was part of today's totem. And so for me, when I do these early readings, like last night, I was in bed by 7 p.m., but I have to get up at like 3 or 4 in the morning. I cannot wait to do normal time for all of you and also for me, because it's been hard on me. For any of you that have to work the night shift, because I have new appreciation and understanding for those of you that are nurses, or maybe you drive a truck and you're hauling things from place to place. It takes a little bit of a wear and tear on your body. So make sure that you get the nap or the sleep whenever you can get it, or whenever your body says it's time to go to bed. And that's something that I've tried to listen to. There comes a point where also productivity takes a nosedive. So for those of you that might be students or in a corporate environment and you've been pulling a lot of late nights, or have been working like 50, 60, 70-hour work weeks or whatever, there comes a point where you either are less productive or can even be sloppy. So take some time off, or say no to some things, because this is showing necessary rest. And if you're in a period of plateau, let's say you're looking for employment, you're retired, congrats if you're retired, or if you're just at a point where you feel like, I am uninspired at this moment in time, just rest for an extra day or two whenever this happens, because you've earned the reprieve and things will pick up later. We saw that with the little rabbit here in this particular card. So now is the time for recharging, and later you'll have time to make up for quote unquote lost time. Okay, let's look at how you're showing up. You're showing up amazingly well. We have the World card. A lot of reversals for you, but to me that just shows a subtlety of energy, an opening of opportunity, some internal disbelief that might be holding you back from allowing it to happen faster. So just believe here. This is one of the most, let me just get the dust off of this. This is one of the most beautiful World cards that I have. I love this. What I like especially here is that it's almost like the upgraded version of Two of Wands, because in the Two of Wands, we have the two different wands and we have the person holding a globe. Here they are bigger than life, and it's literally like the world in their hands. And we are seeing now the ability for you to embody the dream. So dream the dream first, and know that once you dream it, once you believe it, once you really are kind of incorporating that into your mind, body, and spirit, other people will see it. So the expansion for you, maybe there was a delay. Maybe the first attempt, because we saw here that something's overdue. But now is the time when it's opening up, because we see the Three of Pentacles attached to this, which is recognition. It's like a job well done. When we look at school, this is like college or final graduation. When we look at writing, this is usually the point where you're going to go to a publisher and get it published, and there's maybe one last bit of edits, but things are ready, things are good. People are looking at this and they see that, yes, now is the time. So I want you to really embrace and think, I'm changing my fortune, I'm changing my perspective, I'm changing my direction. I've always had this capacity. Now I see it, now I believe it, now I'm ready. We also see that she has all of the elements here as tattoos. We can see, earth and air and water and fire and all of that basically coming through. So there's a little bit of the magician as well. All of the different tools of the trade. Now's the time to put them together and say, this is what it was all about, okay? In business, this is publication and distribution. In life, this can be a move. This can be also a decision to try something different or get out of something that you're familiar with and put yourself into something new. Through this change comes expansion. So change is good. Change it up. Change up your routine a little bit. Change up your even what you're listening to, the path that you might be taking and walking to the store or to school or to work or where you're driving, the change in your routine opens up new people and new doors. So you can kind of do it yourself, or you can be open to the changes that the universe is putting in front of you. But change of relationship, change of job, it's all for the better because it's the world. And unlike the tower where you have no choice, the world, it's usually a choice that you're embracing and you're seeing, this is definitely worth it. I'm stepping up, I'm stepping out, I'm moving. So that's what I see for you. Movement and growth. The environment shows the reception of that, like this is something worth it. This is something that I want to see more of. The traditional Three of Pentacles, we would see someone kind of perfecting, it's almost like architectural, very architectural. So I want you to look at what you're forging and what you're building in your life and think to yourself, am I done with this now? A lot of times when we're looking at a work situation or when we're going through a relationship, we hold on because there's still something we want to prove to ourselves. There's still something we're trying to learn. So part of this architectural message for you is, have you gotten what you needed out of this? And if so, then why are you still connected? Why are you still working on this? So you don't need to be a perfectionist at this moment in time. This card always tends to be towards the back here. So here's your traditional Three of Pentacles. We can see someone putting those final touches on an archway. We see people inspecting, agreeing, approving of that. And we also see two openings, two paths in front of you. So there could be a call to action. People may be asking you, this is what I have been seeing for a few signs this month. Where do you stand? What do you want? And you can basically be the final person that kind of pushes yourself through that door, through that opportunity. But for those of you that are writers or trying to get a patent or trying to get something published or received, or you're entering a contest or anything like that, the Three of Pentacles is good because it shows recognition. It shows there's a high chance that you would be selected. Job seeking as well, very, very positive energy with that. Now we have the restrictive energy, which is in hopes, fears, and opportunity. And this is basically your opportunity to release it. We see a beautiful moth in the background, and then we see a person focusing only on what's in front of them. They're missing something that's happening in the world around them, and they're holding on to what they see, what they know, because they're afraid that this is as good as it gets, or if I let go of this, what more could there be? So if that person were just to stand up, they would have those wings kind of framing their back, and it would be like, yes, it's time to take off, it's time to explore. With moths in particular, very nocturnal symbol. Some of you may operate the way that I do with intuition, which is you pick up a lot through either dreams or daydreaming or meditation. Typically, when you shut your eyes, you start to see the world. This is why in literature and movies, so often you see the blind seer, because we have to close our eyes to what's obvious in order to see. We have to sometimes use different tools for divination because it can be right in front of your face, but your senses get in the way. So I want you to just basically trust how you feel in a situation, and using the sort of image of liberation in the background and transformation. Moths are transformation, just like butterflies. There's a subtle opportunity to step into something different and become something different than you would imagine. So entertain possibilities. Don't close yourself off this month. Opening, exploring, being curious, and then sort of just letting the universe support you here in this new endeavor, I think is key. Many of you are trying to get organized this month. The Hierophant has a lot of different meanings. One of the best functions of the Hierophant is to basically create order, create structure, because we see in the image a papal figure, we see disciples, we see the keys. But when I look at it in a traditional sense, I would say places of work, this would be very hierarchical. Lots of syllables there, but there's a lot of levels between you and the top. It can be a gatekeeper. In our day-to-day life, it could be what I'm doing, which is putting things in boxes and labeling them and getting everything organized. So there could be some structure that needs to happen before you can transform or move into the next phase. So do that internal audit, if you will, and think, what have I got going here? What's going here? You can also be putting a timeline together. All of those energies support the Hierophant. I always like to remind people when I see this that I like the modern interpretation of this, which is you don't need this gatekeeper. You are the key. And you're also the papal figure here. So depending on the deck that you're using, the Hierophant can be the high priest. So we would have basically Fool, Magician, High Priestess, and then the High Priest or the Hierophant. Basically what this is showing you here is that you have the ability to step in. Actually, then, if this is the case, I'm just double checking. Yeah, I forgot Emperor and Empress. So Emperor and Empress are the leadership cards. The Magician and the High Priestess are the sort of inner knowing and magic cards. So we take leadership and magic and put them together with this. And even though it's 5, it's really like the 6 because the Fool is 0. So you're bringing together all these different elements, and yeah, you have the key. You don't need someone else to show you this. You've already gone through those steps. If we were to look at the Wildwood Tarot, Wild Unknown Tarot, there's a raven or a crow that's flying with the key. That's my favorite interpretation of this because it's saying, I can do this. And it's going to go quickly now because I'm taking ownership of it. So focus mostly on this piece, the keys, and don't focus so much on what this person says is possible or not. You can define your own possibilities here, okay? Take one of the keys and run with it. Let that other person continue to pontificate because you have the key to success. You always have had the key to success. And it's a pretty good card. I prefer High Priest for it because to me, it's showing the leadership energy and the magic. Whereas Hierophant is kind of stuck in a building doing things the way it's been done for a long, long time. Okay? So be the High Priest, take the key, or be that raven and take the key and open a door somewhere. All right. Let's expand your forecast. This is where we're going to focus on things like health, wealth, love, and destiny. A lot of other folks may do just one, which is why the readings are shorter. I kind of take a deeper dive, and I hope you guys enjoy it, where we can look at all the aspects of your life in this moment. So you basically can come back and look at all the different chapters that I put together, and you can click on those links and review as needed. In this portion, we're going to start with health. I disclaimed it earlier, but I'll do it again. When I'm looking at health, I always like to focus on free will and how energy affects the body. So if you're going through anything, you may need to work with a different type of professional if there's something going on with mental health or physical health. But environmental sort of energies and also how we feel, it definitely affects the body. So that's what we'll be looking at is environment and choice. All right, so this is a complement to, not a replacement for all the other different things that you can use to get yourself in a healthier and better place. All right, let's take a look at the card here. So we have the rainbow waterfall here, and I was choosing between 2 different rainbow shirts today, and I chose this one, which had a little bit more of the earth energy. We have the butterfly on this one as well. So expect that something can be better than you thought it would. We have miracles as the second word on this particular card. So believe in something being even better than you thought. This is really important when you're going through a health situation. Recovery, physical therapy, any sort of prognosis. We want to always think, what can I do to prove the doctor wrong or prove that my body's stronger or make the most out of the situation? Always believe that you have a fighting chance at something and push for more. An interesting aside, when I've seen it with both of my parents who are in spirit, and I feel their presence every day and I appreciate them. But for my father, he had a lot of things that were going wrong in his body before he died. But he persisted for 8 years, going through a lot of different health issues, including cancer as one of them. But it was COPD and heart disease, heart failure, and cancer, like a lot of things going on. But 8 years, and probably 8 years longer than many doctors thought. And for my mom, she didn't want to leave the planet. It was kind of interesting because I saw indications that it was like I saw an angel of transformation coming through, but she told me in her own words, and I didn't tell her that, I just sort of noted it. I'm like, okay. But she was like, I'm not ready to leave. She had many years after I saw that angel. So both parents wanted more time. And I appreciate it, and they pushed, and they got the time that they wanted and needed to learn their life lessons, and I got more time with them, so it's win-win. But your stubbornness can push through, even when an angel of transformation is coming through sometimes and saying it's time, but they're like, all right, a little bit more. There is a sort of limit eventually for everyone because the bodies can only handle so much. But I've seen it with my own parents that they push beyond their natural sort of ascension moment because they had a little bit more of unfinished business that they wanted to get off their plate. So good for them. I've also seen miraculous recoveries where people come back 100% or more than they thought they could. So believe that you have a fighting chance. You can push beyond expectations. The other way you can look at this is the flip side, which is if you don't try or you don't believe or you give up, then you've stagnated. But if you push, it's the same thing with athletic endeavors. If you push, sometimes you can get that extra 2 or 3 seconds if you're swimming and trying to get a medal or something. You're like, I don't know where that came from. I didn't know I had it in me. So in athletics, you see it all the time. In health, occasionally. And in life, it's the person that is sometimes the most stubborn, the most sort of believing in an outcome because they just keep trying, it eventually happens. So push. Who knows? We got some really great expansion energy this month, or expansive energy, I should say, with the World card and with the Three of Pentacles. And so I see a breakthrough for many of you. So go for it. It could be a health breakthrough. It could be something else, like I said, athletics, which would basically be a combination of health and career for some of you. You might be able to get to the next pinnacle or overcome an injury or something of that nature. Let's look more specifically at the cards and see if there's some specific habits or things in our life that we need to focus on. I'd be remiss to not reconnect with the medicine mother here. So for many of you, you might be exploring, like I said, new approaches or new complements to your current practice. So in addition to, working with your doctor, maybe there's a different dietary thing that you can focus on. Maybe you're going to work with energy healer and some other things. So full circle, we're not just doing one thing, we're incorporating all the different elements that our body is open to, mind, body, and spirit. We don't just feed one, right? You can feed the belly, but you also have to feed the mind, and you also have to spiritually feel connected. So this is just saying holistically look at your life and make sure that you're checking all of those mind, body, and spirit elements. There could also be healing between mother and child or parent and child, because I try not to read gender too much. So there's parental or, again, child healing that can come through. If there's any of you that are feeling estranged or there's a frustrating sort of relationship with your parents or siblings, this is a chance to kind of heal that up karmically so you don't repeat that or replay that in your personal relationships. Let's look at the other cards here. I mentioned earlier how much you're drinking water and other things could play a role here because this is the fluids and how they're flowing through you. Can also be pregnancy for some of you as well. Like I said, there could be a breakthrough in that. There could be twins. The other thing here is just how energy around you, particularly like a toxic workplace, can affect you. So making sure that you're cleaning up the environment, not just like physically, but also the people that you're spending time with. Get enough sleep. For many, like myself, there could be a change of environment, new job, new living place, new partnership. Everything's bringing you in a really good direction. So I like where you're headed overall, all right? Stress management and perspective are key. Taking care of yourself, also key. Easier said than done, but overall, we see movement towards the positive. And the rainbow, of course, that sort of silver lining when we come through something difficult, divorce, estrangement, death, big changes in our life. Sometimes we have to go through the rain to see that rainbow, right? So that's what this card is showing, is new developments. And all the butterflies and moths here, the moth is there, are also showing me that you can kind of step through. We have 3 different ones on this. It's kind of hard to see it unless I bring it really up close because they're kind of iridescent. So lots and lots of butterflies and moths. So I like that. Change, growth, development. Takes time. There are steps in both the chrysalis and the cocoon state, so give yourself time. The cocoon is of course, the resting state. You have to sometimes take care of yourself before you can become what you need to become, so make sure you're doing that. All right, let's get to the exciting card, the one that's very much connected to today's totem, the crystal. We have crystal focus coming through with the wealth area here, the wealth card. And much like what's behind me, we see the amethyst sort of cluster there. I'll bring it up to the camera. It may need to be dusted because it does collect dust, but let's bring it up here. Okay, so This is just a lovely cluster. I got this in one of my visits to Sedona maybe 10 years ago. It's been a while. Anyway, this is one of my favorite crystals, and I keep it close to where I work because amethyst is a very protective crystal, and so some of you may decide to kind of wear that or use that to help you feel grounded and feel protected and connect to the highest energies. Color of the crown, so it's a really beautiful energy. Now let's talk about the second word on here, which is focus. The Magician card is one of the most powerful ones unless it loses its focus. So this one is reminding you to pick something that really is receptive and also feeling good when you're connecting with it, and that's your focus. Don't try to be everything to everyone. Don't try to do everything for everyone. Don't try to do everything full stop, and that's going to help you. Discernment is your best friend here. And then crystallizing or clarifying what it is you want to do, I would say, is the most powerful thing you can basically do for yourself to set up success, because we talk a lot about like an elevator pitch. If you were stuck in the elevator with someone for 3 or 4 floors and they said, hey, walk me through your idea. You have like 15, 20 seconds to get it out and have them understand it. So what I used to do for people that I would coach, or when I was a boss and a manager at work, you can take one of these index cards. You see there's only a few lines, maybe 10 lines on it. I would say put your goal in that, and it should be 1 to 2 sentences. If it exceeds this in normal print, that I don't want to see microscopic print, regular size print. If you can't summarize it in 2 to 3 lines, it's too complicated. So simplify it. And an example, I always like to give an example of like what I do here. Basically, it's to raise the collective consciousness. That's the main goal. The subcategories would be to start, I would say, interesting and worthwhile conversations about spirituality. And I would say then maybe a third bullet would be to normalize that it's okay to talk about spirituality. It's okay to be spiritual and be professional and be, kind of like connected to science and practicality and all this. It has a place in everyone's life. So consciousness, expansion, discussion, and then normalization. That's what I do. And I do it in different ways. I do it through media. I do it through writing, do it through day-to-day conversations. So very quickly, I could summarize who I am and what I'm trying to accomplish. And I could also take those lenses and apply them to a project. Someone's pitching to me, and I would say, does it make sense for me? Does it accomplish this, this, and this? And then does it feel right? That's how I would do it. So I want you to think about what you're trying to accomplish. Planetary goal. So for me, it's raising consciousness. That may not be the project goal, but that's your planetary goal. So get your planetary goal together, get your current project goal together, or your short-term goals together, and then put the 3 together and find that center point. That's your diamond. That's going to help you decide, do I say yes to this, whatever this may be? Okay. Let's take some additional glances at some of these cards. Again, release and expansion. This is saying you have something great. It's overdue to offer. The minute you put it out there, we see recognition. So many of you are done. You're just holding on to something. So for those of you that applies to, it's saying, let's do it. Some of you want to treat yourself to training or education. I see it as very good as well. This is a higher education, and this is expansion that comes from that. The other thing here is that you are not limited by how far you've come. This is just where you're at right now. So the gates are opening up. There's more to come. The best is yet to come. Get your rest, and then realize that you're probably going to be the one opening the door yourself. There may be someone that you've been looking up to or depending on for the yes, but if they're taking their sweet time, you can do something on your own if you want to. Overall, all the cards are looking pretty good. The only thing that I would say with this is slightly limited. These are much more expansive. So is this. Don't accept a low ball offer. Don't hold on to something just because it's safe or predictable. I like to remind folks that the devil is still a devil, or something that's safe and comfortable but not fulfilling. It could be limiting long-term potential. So make sure that you are exploring or entertaining the possibility. We talked about that earlier. Okay, otherwise it looks pretty good. Just don't get distracted, focus on something, and get clear on what you're trying to accomplish so someone else can step in and say, absolutely, let's do this. Yes, I see what you're saying. It's easy for me to understand. It took me a while to be able to kind of like summarize them and lay them out there, but after 3/4 of a decade, it came into focus for me too. So give yourself time. You may not get it immediately, but eventually it will come through. And when it is, it's so much easier. I will tell you that it's so much easier. So let's go ahead now and take a look at love. So we do have a very forgiving energy coming through with this. Holy Spirit. Again, second time we've gotten a miraculous card here. We got one with health, miracles. Now we have one here with love. The lower caption says, remember that only love is real. Miracles will occur naturally. Spirit has your back. So another way to look at this is everything has a time. Everything has a reason. Trust in that cosmic timing. We have the Ace of Cups at the center here with the dove flying into it, which is beautiful. This card is in reverse. So what I would say for some of you, before we even look at the different types of relationships, is that there needs to be this release or this healing that happens with you first. Because really what I'm looking at here is angelic protection and an Ace of Cups in reverse. So if you had a really bad breakup, if you loved and lost and thought that that's as good as it gets, you don't know that that's all that there is out there. There could be something that may not be a complete facsimile. I can guarantee this. There are no like absolute repeats. There's no complete duplications of one person or one experience. But when we're looking at something beautiful, that means that there might be other equally as engaging, but definitely different experiences out there. So be open to experiencing something beautiful, something amazing, something wonderful, not the exact same. And I think that's true of people that might be experiencing love after losing, definitely after losing someone that's passed away. So it's a new chapter. Or it could be looking at valuing yourself after a door was closed. It could also be, your internal self-worth is shut down after maybe being laid off or fired from a job. When we love ourselves a little less, we have harder time connecting and opening up to new people around us. So there are new people that want to come in, but for some of you, there is just a little bit of a hesitation there. For the rest of you, this is just encouragement to go towards the new opportunity. But if you're feeling that sense of that was as good as it got, or I don't want to put myself out there, or am I worth it? We'll work on those self-worth things first, and then we can look at what I'm going to look at next, which is the different levels of relationships and relationship messages that are opening up to you. Let's begin with those that are already in a relationship. You can use this for love or the most important relationship in your life. And what we have here at the center is to keep an open mind. So any of the court cards under the suit of wands reversed basically is saying, I need to keep an open mind here. I see strong-willed energy. And when we're looking at both the top cards here, the Queen of Pentacles reversed and the Hierophant, these are very much focused on themselves. The Queen of Pentacles is all about herself, and the Hierophant card is very stuck in one way of doing things. So the challenge in existing relationships is to move somewhere into the middle and say, well, I'm not willing to give up this, but I am willing to try this. Or this is important to me, but I know you want to do this. So we're going to meet here. It does feel like there's a little bit of a tug here before you'll kind of like completely jump and say, all right, we'll do it. But I see a step in the right direction there. So try to just meet one another halfway, and then maybe one or the other side will kind of move in the other direction. But the first thing is just to look eye to eye and say, let's figure this out. Okay? So that's the main thing here, is strong wills and strong sort of decisive energies that need to just bend a little bit. I think that for some of you, there could be this question of, it looks like someone is not putting in as much work as they said they would. Because when I look at these two together, the word that came to my mind, and I'm trying not to put judgmental words out, but it felt like there was someone not showing up. It's lazy. So you might be looking at a partner thinking, I'm doing all the work, or why aren't they doing this? They said they were going to do this and they didn't do this. And then I have to be the bossy person, and I'm tired of that. So there's a little bit of fatigue because of promises that haven't been kept, but it doesn't come through as like deep and dark and deceptive. It's just sort of like, you said you were going to do this and you didn't do it. So accountability. But if there's a way to come at this in a way that's friendly, it's going to go over much better. 6 of Cups is I love you, I have your back. What's going on? You said you were going to do it and you didn't, and that's not like you. That hits a lot different than why didn't you do it and why do I have to say this? It's more kind to sort of check in and say, is everything okay? And then say, was I clear when I asked for this? Was there a reason it didn't get done? Ask a bunch of questions, and then the person's probably going to come to their own and say, don't worry about it. I just totally messed up and I'll get it done. But come at it with questions and no assumptions. Imagine that you're a reporter and you're going at it to get some information. What was it that I said that was unclear? What is it that's not fun for you to do? Would you like to do something different? Because I really depend on you for this. So if you don't want to do it, let me know. And then let me know what you can do. And then do that. And that's a mature way to have the conversation. And then it's no argument. And there's nobody nagging another person. It's just saying, hey, I'm really trying to get organized here. I'd rather hear a no from the beginning if you're not going to do it, so that I know what I can expect here. So there's that kind of conversation that can happen. It does feel like work, school, and money matters. It feels like they've been taking a center focus for a while, but I guess with things like inflation and rising costs in the world, it makes a lot of sense that these things are coming through as a focal point, but that's coming. You may have a question of, are we going to stay or go? Do we want to liquidate this asset or this house? There's questions of moving, and there's questions of, for some of you, like, what do I want to do? One partner might want to try a change in career or a change in trajectory. So organization, figuring this out. Again, a lot of what we talked about just for Libra itself kind of comes through in the relationship as well. If you are single and looking, you have a great chance of connecting with someone. I love the 6 of Cups. 6 of Cups and the Star card are really great indicators of higher partnerships. Friends and lovers is what you get with this kind of energy, so I like that quite a bit. The only karmic lessons from the past: honesty, transparency, and then focusing on positivity, key, and making sure you're getting enough rest. Self-care and approaching things with a sort of open mind, expecting something great to happen. That is going to pull in this sort of synchronistic event where you meet that special someone. It could come through work or through school, because I look at your environment and I have school basically, or work or money. It could also come once you fix something in that area, like your finances. That's an attractive force. This other person may be looking for someone that has their money situation together. You have an old soul coming through, and it could be past life, but it could also just be a really great connection, or very good mature energy for you. So I like what I see here. You may also be pulling in someone not of your culture, language, or circle of friends. This is an outsider sort of energy, which can also be fun and intriguing for you. All right, if you are single and happy, I think the most important thing to do is to get your money matters sort of sorted out here. And new and exciting travel, career, and moving opportunities are opening up for you. There's definitely a lot of receptive energy. This is recognition. This is friendship. So I still see people coming into your life, and it feels pretty easy. Like if this is a relaxed card to be between these two. So you should have a really easy time networking this month, and it would be, I would say, not wise to avoid networking opportunities. So connect and get out there. There could be jobs and new clients that come through that as well, or just fun for those of you that might be retired. Get out there and explore a little bit. Okay. One last thing here is reconciliation. Just going back to this oracle card here. So expect miracles. You could get some closure on something that you needed closure on, and who doesn't want closure? I think that's a good thing. All right, let's now move on to your destiny card, and it really closely aligns with the health card. So we see rejuvenating rain, and it says clear the past and heal the present. And the card was reversed. So there could be some resistance in letting go. Maybe it's even just forgiveness doesn't require the other person's acceptance. You can ask for forgiveness, but you can forgive without sort of like asking for it. Forgive yourself, forgive the person, especially if you are estranged from them or they don't want to talk to you. So just think to yourself. Release also is in the same energy of that, saying I've done what I can, I learned what I needed, I'm releasing this, all the feelings that I have, and I'll leave open the door if that person ever wants to reconcile. But from my perspective, there's no bad blood. And if you do that, you've already healed it as much as you probably can. And then when you meet or reconnect with that person, the rest of the healing can come through. A good cry and a good laugh can do a world of good. So maybe watching a movie or talking to someone or hanging out with someone and allowing those sort of energies to naturally happen can also help facilitate healing. Whatever one wants to come through, allow it to. Sometimes we laugh when we think we should cry, but it doesn't matter. It's still a release. Exercise and artistic endeavors also are a great outlet. So it feels like there needs to be an outlet. Whenever I see rain, to me, it's expression. So tears especially. So don't be afraid if you laugh until you cry, you need to cry a little bit, or you just need to talk through something that's been weighing heavily on you. The emotions want to come through, and it's going to be a very positive and good experience for you overall once that happens, okay? One last thing here is bless a previous experience. So like when I leave this place, it's been a pain in my behind here, but when I leave, I'll kind of like do a bow to the place and say, thanks for all that you brought to me. Goodbye. Nice. And bless the future person that lives here. And that's it. So that there's no bad energy when I close the door. And that's it. So close a chapter in your life, similar sort of thing where you say goodbye to something. Thank you and goodbye. And doing it in that way ensures that you don't have to go back and fix it again. Let this be the last time that you close a particular door, and hope that all the new ones are more inviting and more engaging. Okay, let's move on to the next piece of your reading, which is going to be the big idea. So this is just asking the universe, what can I focus on? Since one of your messages, particularly when we're looking at wealth, was all around focus. So let's see what's coming through. Yay, got the Ace of Cups. No surprise, this Ace of Cups was reversed. A lot of reversals for you this month, Libra, which is just showing, like I said, this sort of like developmental or expansive energy. And a lot of times when we step into something new, we ask ourselves, can I do this? Should I do this? Am I worth this? So the answer is yes to all of those questions. This is showing me a healing moment for you. You've been doing a lot for others. Many of you have been going through a lot. And this is basically saying, I'm done with that. And I really want to feel something more exciting, more fulfilling, more engaging. I open myself up to love. I open myself up to just new experiences and happiness in general. So let that be your mantra and your magnet this month, which is I'm ready for love and abundance in the highest forms. And I'm going to recognize them when they come my way. And I'm not going to second guess them. So I'm open, I'm ready, and I'm deserving. Those would be the ways that I could kind of summarize that up for you. Okay, and it's so interesting. I was just looking at how many people were watching, and it's like the internet 404 error. So it's not a mistake when something's coming through. The numerology of that caught my eye for a second. So you're not lost. You're exactly where you need to be. Sometimes like the 404 errors we would get on the internet, you just have to hit refresh. So this is your moment to refresh. We're now at 407 and it's gone, and that's fine. But that's what that reminded me of for just a moment because I was looking at the numbers. All right. If you just joined, perfect timing here. We just went through channel messages, Celtic Cross, big idea. Now we're getting into a fun part here. We're going to be much more interactive, and it's going to go much more quickly at this point here. So blessings and blocks are next. The blessings and blocks are exciting because just as they sound, they're going to be very clear. This is something that opens a door. This is something that could trip you up. And as we focus on this, it should be empowering for you. Okay, blessings is 2, and the block, these are beautiful cards. Okay, so this is good stuff, basically, Libra, that's coming through for you. All right, we got 2 for your blessings. Let's focus on the one that's coming up on top first. We have the Magician. So this is so closely aligned with the focus card. As long as you stay focused, you will have the power to create whatever it is that you need to create. It's when you get frustrated, when you get pulled between 2 different things that are just not worth your time and energy, that you might start to lose that focus or that power. So your You're powerful, and you're most powerful when you're focused and clear, especially since the diamond was part of your spirit totem today. So get clear on things, stay focused, and then put the energy into one thing that's really receptive and deserving, most importantly, of your time and energy. Thoughts manifest, you manifest, and you can create this month. Subtly underneath this, affecting your ability to manifest, is the Strength card, something that I featured with the presentation at the beginning when I talked about the spirit totem. Focus and prioritize on your health this month. Make sure that you are working out your mind and body. So things like yoga are a great example of how to connect the two. But making sure, especially on a physical level, that if anything's not right or feels out of sort, that you talk to your doctor and you prioritize making that better. Because the channeling card, only works if the sort of like, this is your body and you are the channel, but if the body isn't receptive, if the body isn't healthy, then the energy can't channel through it. So these two cards are interdependent on one another. Your earthly vehicle or your earthly sort of receptacle for all the energy has to be clean and clear. So clean and clear that up to the best of your ability, and you're going to see positive results. You'll be able to get things done faster. All right, the block. This month we have the sun in reverse. Now the sun in reverse, when we're putting the lens on an external person, it's a little annoying sometimes. It's someone who lacks empathy and can tend to make things about themselves. So they just don't see the big picture. I love how the sun in this particular illustration is grabbing hands. And so what I would say is this person likes to take the spotlight. A lot of times this is ascribed to divine masculine energy, so it can be a male in your life. But there's someone in your life that tends to have a difficult time letting you shine or letting others shine, may not be the best listener, a lot of times tries to take an experience that you're going through and then make it about themselves. So slightly narcissistic energy, but it can also just be someone who has a hard time sharing. And so your challenge would be in not feeding that or fighting that energy too much. Really just sort of separating yourself from it, or resetting a conversation if you're having one with them to say, you know what, hold on a second, I wasn't finished, or this isn't about you, and really just sort of making sure that you take control in the situation. Okay? The sun card definitely can be put in their place because it is sort of like a grown-up child. So someone who is in their 30s or 40s but acting like they're like 3 or 4 instead. So you're going to be able to kind of like put them in their place, and they're going to, not in a sort of, it's more just how you hold yourself, how you say something, and how much you're willing to take. So if you're just quick and short and firm with your boundaries, they'll move on to someone else that isn't. Okay? And that is blessings and blocks. Let's move along to the viewers and the readers' choices next. And so for this one, you get a chance to vote again, like you did when you helped me select the deck earlier. And I'm also going to choose one as well. Okay, so let me get the poll set up and we'll go from there. All right, so the choices for today's viewer's choice. Let's see what's calling to me. All right, because there's so many messages around the body, we have the medicine woman up here. We have a bunch of sort of like release cards. So let's take a look at health, and then I'm going to put colon, what to release, let go of, question mark. I know that I shouldn't end it with that, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, so what to release or let go of in your life. Let me see, because I have just so many words on this. Let's see what the next one is. Let's go ahead and put this external person in just in case. So how to deal with tricky personalities. People I'll just put. And then for the last one, I'm going to focus on focus. That makes sense. Let's see if there's one last thing here. Oh, keeping an open mind. So and I would put like, is there one thing to like focus on in particular? But we'll leave that. Keeping an open mind. I'll put how to keep an open mind. How/when to keep an open mind. Because maybe there's a specific area that you need to focus on a little bit. All right. For the reader's choice today, let's take a look here and see, again, I was going to help you with what to focus on. So is there something in your life that's either pulling your focus away from something, or is there something that is requiring a little bit more of your attention, a little bit more of your focus? And let's see. Interesting. Okay. So for the message around focus, we have the Eight of Swords. Everything that I talked about earlier, just because you can't see it doesn't mean that you can't do it. Just because it's not in front of you doesn't mean that it's beyond manifestation. So this is hope, this is faith, this is trust in the vision. And for many of you, it's saying, I'm going to rise above my insecurities around ambiguity, because sometimes the Eight of Swords just feels like you're in the dark, right? So like all of the blind seers throughout literature and movies, they don't need their eyes anymore because they have the third eye, because they feel it, they know it, they trust it, okay? So you are on the precipice of achieving something that you may not see happening around you, or others may doubt is possible, but as long as you trust in the vision and ease through that sort of period of time where it's kind of like you're in the fog, you'll be okay, all right? So center, visualize, trust, and then do the work to help continue manifesting with the expectation that this work will pay off, which it will, because your totem today surrounded that sort of hard work and energy. All right, let's take a look quickly at how to deal with tricky people. Pretty much a resounding winner at 47%. So let's take a look at those tricky people and what we can do to focus on alleviating some of that energy. Who are they? What do we need to focus on with them? All right, they're getting into your head is what's happening here. So we have the Nine of Swords in reverse. So sometimes a person has a way of saying one little thing, and it just has, it's kind of like when you listen to a song on the radio and it's an earworm and it just gets stuck and there's a line in it that's in your head. Sometimes we have a conversation with somebody and they know just what to say to trigger us, and then the rest of the day, you're in your head and you're thinking, if I'd only said this, or why did I do this, or why did I walk down the street at that time and run into this person? And so I would say the first thing to do is to understand that this isn't worth your time and energy. We actually see like this symbol of, it's like a centipede and I don't know what else, these little creepy crawlies in the middle of the head here. So basically I would say this is eating away at things. So the most important thing that you can do, and this is how I deal with tricky people as well. To myself, I think, this is not worth my time. That person is not worth my energy. And me thinking about it more is giving them what they want. So the best thing that I can do is to shift focus and to do something different and approach them differently next time too. I'm not going to give them what they expect. I'm going to give them the reverse. If they want me to get upset, I'll flash a smile and keep on walking. I'm not going to let this get under my skin. There's better things to focus on. So changing, you have the control here. You can't change what they said, can't necessarily change the initial reaction. You can change what you decide to do about it in the future and how much energy you invest. And as I say that, I got the solar plexus lighting up. So I know for some of you, it's a power struggle. The Nine of Swords also is a reminder that it's not as bad as they're saying it is. And you can make it better. So this is a stress-based card. This is a fear-based card, the Nine of Swords. And we need things like sleep and our Zen state to rise above it. So we see her levitating and the crows are cawing in the background, but it doesn't matter because she's like, nope, I know what I'm going to do. I know what you're saying. I know this game. I'm not going to play it. So get your rest, pick your battles, and reallocate energy to something that matters more than this person. This individual likes to work with fear or anxiety, or they worry too much. And so what you can do is say, I know that this is something that always concerns you. So we've already taking care of that. I've done the research, or this person's going to look out for that. With that being taken care of, can we now get back to business? Can we focus on this? It'll be like, okay. So if you know what someone's fear or anxiety is going to be, do your homework, get it covered before you walk into the room and talk to them and say, before we get started, I know this is always a question and I've sorted it out. And they'll be surprised. And then you can, now you've got the power, now you've got the center stage, now you can kind of reforge the narrative. So that's my advice. If you can assuage concerns like that, go for it. But if you know there's someone that just likes to get under your skin, then you can change the topic too. Instead of reacting, you can just ask a different question. It'll throw them off. So try that too. That's worked for me before. Ultimately, it's also a sign that this probably isn't the best person. They're not worth the time and energy. So I would say in the long run, if you can move on or move beyond that block, go for it. If it's someone in your family, obviously, then some of these other techniques are going to be more useful. Okay? And yeah, I like what someone wrote here with focusing on, I would even say like the way that you respond is important too. Responding, not reacting, but I would say with the type of response that you do, as neutral as possible would be key. And then also you can answer a question with a question. If you don't like the line of you could say, that's interesting that you brought it up. What brought you to this sort of question in your mind, or why is this important right now, or why is this the first time hearing about it? Put them in the hot seat. Take a few moments and gather your sort of mental state, figure out what you want to do about this. You can always ask a question while you're buying time, okay? Good question, but I will say with the 9 of Swords, I typically don't get afraid with this. 10 of Swords, you should pause and think about things. 9 of Swords, it's just fear. 8 of Swords, it's interesting that both of these were right next to each other in the major, or the minor arcana rather. So this is sort of discomfort with ambiguity, needing to get clarity on something. This is just getting stressed out about the unknown sometimes and working yourself up. So like when you're in school, I'm sure many of you have had someone in your life where they're like, oh my God, are you ready for the test? I've been studying. I'm really nervous. It's going to be terrible. And you think to yourself, I've studied. I'm okay. Why is this person freaking me out? So sometimes it's external pressure and there's someone that just has that anxiety. Sometimes you're the one that's kind of putting the pressure cooker together. There's only so much you can do in any particular thing. And at that point, you have to rely on your intuition and your reflexes and your training and your many lifetimes that have set up this person in this moment, and just say, I'll figure it out. So know that you can do this no matter what. All right. Remember, you're a diamond this month. So it's strong and it can take a little bit of a beating. All right. Let's go ahead and move along to the specific sun, rising, and moon messages for Libra this month. While I shuffle it, we'll talk a little bit about that. Basically, this is just helping you get a little bit of a better understanding on those different aspects of your chart. All right. Sun, rising, and moon. All right. They're already starting some construction upstairs, so you may hear it. Isn't that crazy? 7 a.m. All right, we're going to begin with the sun sign here. We have the Wheel of Fortune for this. So for those of you born under the sign of Libra, this is for your this is your message rather. What I love about this is it's exactly what I featured. We'll pull it up for just a second in the presentation earlier, which I saw a bunch of zeros and to me, that means that there's like a number and a bunch of zeros. So I think there's a change in fortune, a change in direction for you. Some of you may be deciding like, I'm kind of done with a particular path. And so here we have the 2 different wheels of fortune. And basically, when you see your worth, when you see potential new opportunities open up, if you felt like you weren't lucky before, that is changing. I also want you to focus on visualizing things like health, wealth, and love, all of those different types of abundance in the highest forms, very much connected to what we talked about at the beginning. And we see what is it? I don't know if it's an eagle or falcon at the top, but basically bird's eye view, getting a top-down view of things. And we see the snake underneath, which is like a Kundalini awakening, this new empowerment, this new sort of energy coming through. Keep your focus and then channel that energy. It's a good month for you. Especially good, again, we're looking at Libra Sun, especially good for work, for finance, for feeling better about yourself and understanding that this next big change, which is brought about by the World card, and it's going to be different for all of you, but this next big change, it shifts everything. It sets you spinning in a new trajectory at a new speed. So everything that was, and you're just about to set a new, it's kind of like a new song, right? With a new beat. So everything's going to take a sort of new cadence. So just imagine that this is a reset on all levels and that should be exciting for you. Okay, let's now move from sun to rising. Rising, for those of you that are Libra rising or ascendant, this is how you are projecting out in the workplace, how others are receiving you. Also just kind of like what things like reputation and word of mouth, all of that. And it's pretty darn good. Good month for love for those of you that have Libra rising. People want to be around you. They like what you have to say. They like you. Libra is a sign of beauty, so you're actually coming across in an elevated form here, just being very attractive, very magnetic, very fun. So I like that. It's a good, if I were grading you, I would say that's an A+. You're doing really great with where you're headed on external optics. I hope you're feeling as good as you're looking here. So try to embody that as well. And if anything's coming through, things could pick up pace here. Nights usually travel pretty quickly. So if you meet someone new in your life, new love, new friendship, this could develop pretty quickly. If you're starting something new, the energy of the Knight of Cups is your passion going into that, and it's sort of bringing things along at a more rapid clip. So I see passion and I would say relationships and also your personality just kind of going out there and moving things faster. And so really good actually for both sun and rising messages here. Moving on to moon sign. This is overcoming a painful period or overcoming loss, and also just realizing that the best is yet to come. So the Ten of Swords upright could be like, be careful, try not to say or do anything that's exacerbating an existing situation. But the reversal of this is saying, you know what? I finally figured out why that happened. I've finally had enough of for some of you, this tricky person, because we've worked our way up to it. We had 8, 9, and now we have the 10 of Swords. So moon in particular, this message is saying it's about to come to a close. And we see Medusa here on the ground. It's the first time I recognized that it was Medusa. So the interesting thing is, even in that myth, although she had the superpower and she's misunderstood, and I actually really like Medusa as a figure, even she could be killed. She was very crafty. So there's a chapter in your life where there's been difficulty and maybe someone's been really tricky or crafty, but it's coming to a close and there's a new day that's about to break, and that is done. No matter how tricky someone is, everyone has their time and place, and everything has a time and place in your life, and this one's about to be done. So I see something better on the horizon. You want to really focus on healing this month. So all of these rejuvenating cards, this is saying, I'm done with that. Like I said, when I leave this place, a blessing, a good wish, shutting the door and handing off the keys and being completely done with it. And relationships can have that same energy where it's like, thank you for teaching me. This is how you can do it karmically and meditating. You can say, thank you, universe, for this lesson. It was more difficult than I anticipated. I don't require any repeat from this person or anyone like them. I've integrated and I understand what I need to work on. Thank you. I'm ready for something higher now, something better. I don't need the pain as a teacher anymore. Let's bring joy in instead. And then expect that something joyful and miraculous can come through in its place, in its stead. It's okay to let go of that, okay? Beautiful and actually very powerful message for the moon sign, but I will take the recovery message with the Ten of Swords reverse. No more pain, no more repeat, release of a really major cycle in your life, and now only up from here, okay? So we've gone through the major portions of the reading today. We went through channel messages, Celtic Cross, big idea, blessings and blocks, viewers and reader's choice, and we just went through the different aspects of your chart in sun, rising, and moon. So now we're going to take a moment to get prepared for the final message. We meditate before we do that. Before I do any of that, I only ask maybe like 3 times in a reading. So for those of you that joined in the midpoint, please hit subscribe and like. I'm about to move and change back to my normal schedule, which is going to seem luxurious to have like a 9 a.m. reading time, but can't wait to do that next month. But for the remainder of this month, they're either going to be 5:45 or 6, probably 5:45 because construction's beginning very early. So I had to amp up the start time just a little bit. So anyway, if you subscribe and opt into notifications, you'll be kept in touch and updated whenever this changes. You can also follow me on social media, usually the day before, sometimes the day of. I will put a reminder of what's coming through. If you want to show some love and support, you can do that as well. By the way, if you follow me on social media, just a quick reminder, I don't offer private readings any longer. So if anyone's offering that, that's a red flag. If anyone direct messages you, also a red flag. I don't do that. Okay, let's get set up for the meditation today. Because we had so many different butterflies and moths, again, one on the 4 of Pentacles saying that the best is yet to come, that you just have set the foundations in place. One on the Rainbow Waterfall Miracles card here. Actually 3 on this one. We have the yellow, the kind of like monarch one here, and then this iridescent purple and blue one. So we're going to play with the energy of transformation, but we'll use the metaphor of a moth or a butterfly, maybe both. Okay, so let's get set up. This month I'm just featuring my new singing bowl, so I'll bring that over once we've gone through the meditation. So just be ready for that as well. But for now, go ahead and close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath. On the exhale, I want you to release any tension that you might be holding on to in your neck or your back. You can gently move your neck back and forth a little bit if you want to further loosen any of that energy that you might be holding on to. So why don't we use the moth? Because we often use the butterfly in a meditation, and the moth is beautiful. And so we're going to, just because I can't do both, it makes sense to do one. So let's imagine that we're doing this by moonlight. So you can see it's a crystal blue sky above you. You can see one of the arms of the Milky Way, maybe even the Aurora Borealis if you want to get creative. But you are focusing on the energy of recreation, rebuilding, rebranding, transformation. So imagine here that you are setting up a place that's comfortable for you. You could be in a hammock, you could be sitting against a tree, but I just want you to feel comfortable and safe. And as you're seated there, you notice that there is a caterpillar that's starting to weave this beautiful cocoon around itself. Imagine that you could take threads of moonlight and threads of starlight and create these circles, halos. You could even bring it down. You could imagine that as you look at the moon, you reach down and you have this halo that you bring around you. And you can infinitely do that so it creates this cocoon shape. Or you could take threads of light and imagine that you're just moving them around your body until you are perfectly covered in this shroud of light, silver light. And within this light, you can still poke your arm through if you need to, but you're protected. And if that's a little difficult, you could just imagine that there's a single ray of moonlight that's around you and it's protecting you like a cocoon, whatever's easier. But as you're sitting in this protective shell of light, I want you to think to yourself a few things that will help you become what you seek to become. The first one is, I am safe. This is an okay time for me to do this. So I am safe, I am ready, and I am willing to make this change in my life. I'm also deserving of the opportunities that want to come through. So open yourself up. If you want to visualize that these beautiful wings are starting to develop around your back, or you could even imagine it's more like a thunderbird and you can see wings forming under your arms, whatever you'd like, just imagine that there's this symbolic, energetic wing that is around you that you're creating on both sides. And feel this lightening of energy as well. And when you're ready, break free of the cocoon and feel that you're starting to take flight. And as you're taking flight, there's a point where you don't have to work so hard anymore and you can just sort of coast like you've seen birds do, or like you would see a sky, a hang glider do. So there's this place where you're just gliding through the sky. And as you're gliding through, I want you to focus on looking at what's coming next so that you can see the signs and think to yourself, I'm ready and I'm willing and I can't wait to see what's coming. Just relax as I play the singing bowl, and imagine that your energy is getting brighter, that those wings are flying and allowing you to just be free and unencumbered. Take a nice deep breath. On the exhale, I want you to allow yourself to gently come back into your body, imagining that a single ray of light is shining towards the heart chakra, and your new sort of winged version of yourself is re-entering in that heart space. And you can imagine the shape of a moth or a butterfly is imprinted on the heart, allowing you to change, to transform, to explore, and again, to imagine that something bigger, better, brighter awaits you in the future. As I put the singing bowl to the side, I want you to focus on the final question that you have for me, and we'll take a look at that. And this particular singing bowl that I use does connect with the heart space, which is heart and throat, I think. I'll have to double check on that. But yeah, that's why you kind of I feel it, and I basically feel it from here to here when I'm playing it. It definitely, I have another singing bowl, but this one's like 10 times better. It was a little more expensive, but it was totally worth it. It's just a beautiful sound. Okay, let's focus on your final card. I want you to think about the question that you have for me. You can imagine that you're saying it out loud. You can write it down, whatever you'd like to do. And let's see what the message is from the universe. Looking good. We have the card of persistence and eventual success here, the Nine of Wands. Look at the beautiful illustration on this. We see in the past the struggle, the worry, the difficulty that was going on, and we see emerging from that a stronger, more confident, more capable person. I said it before, everything that you've gone through in your life has created context and strength for this moment in time. So you are much more than you imagined you could be, even if you have great expectations. Right now we're seeing that there's a newfound power within, if you allow it to show, if you allow it to shine, that wants to show up. So this is a good card. It's a yes for a yes-no question. There's a reminder with the Nine of Wands that you often need to push a little bit more than you think you need to finish something. It is also a reminder to take care of mental health and even things like, particularly if you're feeling like a migraine, headache, sinuses, usually has to do with pain that's concentrated in the head or in the sinus regions. It can also have to do even with balance and things like that. But there's any sort of discombobulation with the head space that could be due to stress, lack of sleep, improper diet, or even something, a pre-existing health condition, I should say. Especially if it's the latter, you need to work with a doctor. But for all of those, if you have any weirdness that's popping up, talk to your physician, and then work on other things like cleaning out the environment, focusing on meditation, stress management overall will help. Because this card is very successful and very strong but the head is the vulnerable place on that one. And typically, if we were to look at Rider-Waite-Smith, you'll see a little bandage on the person's head, and it's saying, hey, I've been through things. Sometimes I feel down a little bit. Sometimes I feel a little bit of a headache. Sometimes the stress gets to me. So you want to focus on that so that you can eventually get to the 10 of Wands, which is graduation, expansion, positivity, etc., etc. I'll show you the card real quick if I can find it, and then we'll go to the gratitude portion of this reading. Here we go. So here's your 9 of Wands, how it typically looks, and you'll see very clearly the person has a bandage on their head. But they're strong and they're resolute and they're not ready to let go. So don't give up, but do take care of yourself and know when, where, and how much to push sort of your energy. Knowing your limits is very important with this card. So all of that being said, I see good things on the horizon, and I think that once you get through this next 3 to 6 week or 3 to 9 week period, things will be very good. So it could take up to 2 months for everything to come to fruition, but it's worth all the while, and it's worth all the work that you're putting into it. All right, everyone. I just want to say thanks now. Thank you to everybody that's present. If it's your first time, thank you. If you've been watching me for a better part of a decade, thank you. And if anybody gave back today, I want to extend some gratitude. So let me take a look at what's going on here. And I'm going to welcome new channel members. And I'm also going to say thank you to anyone that gave a super sticker or super chat today. All right, let's take a look here and see what's going on. While I'm getting that opened up, a quick note that we're really close to a milestone. So if you like this in any way, shape, or form, I'd love for you just to hit subscribe, because once I get to 325,000, I will do a Q&A. So we're really close, but not there yet. It's probably going to take a couple months, but surprise me, make it happen faster, and we'll get there faster. Welcome to the 2 newest members. We have Kara Ogden and let's see, I think Jose Let. Thank you so much. Brand new members, good to have you here. Everyone else, it looks like they joined a few days ago. So welcome to those newest members. And for those that have given back today, I'm going to say thank you. All right, so let's see what's going on here. Okay, kicking things off was Yvette Sanchez. Thank you so much for your initial chat. Always good to see you here. I remember the name. Diane Bengston, sorry. Thank you very much, especially for the $50. That was really very kind of you. I appreciate that. Sheena Davis, Jeannie Hart, Aphrodite Goddess 369. I recognize all those names. Thank you so much. Same thing with April Rain and Sheena Davis again. Thank you. It's good to see familiar faces here, and I appreciate all the love and support that you guys give. We also have Mel Days 1. Jules in July, welcome back again. Isha Marie as well. And Carol Quezada, I think it is. Thank you. Let me see if I missed anyone. I think I got everyone. So thank you so much. If I didn't see your name right now, I will when I look at it on replay. You can also show love with the thanks button if you happen to be watching this on replay. Again, next month, I should be returning to normal timed readings. It'll feel wonderful and strange to be doing it not at the crack of dawn here, but it's much needed, and I can't wait to kind of be fully awake and not be getting up so early in the morning. So thank you for being patient as I went through all of this. A lot of love and light to all of you. It looks like a really exciting month for you, Libra. Lots of expansion on the horizon, particularly with this beautiful world card coming through. So the question is really, are you ready? And are you ready to release? Some of you might be holding on to something, so you're ready for this moment of expansion. I hope you are. Keep me posted on how it kind of like unveils and reveals itself to you. And remember also to keep that crystal focus this month, okay? Take care of yourselves. Lots of love and light. I'll see you again this weekend. And then let's see, next week we'll be reading for Scorpio, Sagittarius, and Capricorn on Monday, Thursday, and Friday. And those particular times and dates will be up by the weekend. Okay? Take care. Bye-bye, and thanks again.